From the station that made country music famous, 650 AM WSM, this is a Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Hey, it's Charlie Matos, and welcome to our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. And what a fun morning it was with Big Kenny and Charlie Pennachio in studio. Season 2 of Big Kenny's Crank It Up Garage on Circle Television premieres on Thursday, June 16th. And will air every Thursday for the run of the series. 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central Time. You can get all the information at CircleAllAccess.com. Enjoy our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast with Big Kenny and Charlie Pennachio.
If it rides, glides, floats or flies, or moves otherwise, human-powered or motorized, combustion or electrified, modified, specialized, one-of-a-kind, customized, wheels, wings, jets, or slides. As long as it rides, sounds like something we want to see. Right here on Big Kenny's Crank It Up Garage TV.
Crank it up. The Amish buggy. that's my favorite. Welcome in, fellas. Yeah. Big Kenny is here. Charlie Pennachio by your side. Yeah. Charlie was fist bumping over there with the Yankees score a little bit ago. You were bragging on the Yankees, Charlie, and he was over here. And you are a rare Queens, New Yorker who is Yankees and Jets?
Very odd. But yes, should be definitely Jets and Mets, but somehow the Yankees got into my system. Maybe I just jumped on the bandwagon with all those championships. But
And Kenny, what are your sports allegiances?
What are my sports allegiances?
Yeah, as far as your favorite
my
team.
My son, who's playing travel lacrosse this summer, my sports allegiance is to him. No, Nashville, no excuse. Yes, Nashville, no excuse. No excuse. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Queens, New York, and Culpeper, Virginia represented.
Culpeper, Virginia represented right here today. Riding, gliding, floating, and flying just to get over here this morning.
97 feels like 107 when we top out today in Nashville. And Big Kenny says, you know what? I like it hot. I like to sweat.
Yeah.
Come on in there, farmhand.
Yeah, man, that farm boy just comes out in me, man, and it takes me back to being, a teenager underneath one of them hot tin roofs up there in a hay barn, just sweating, gallons all day long. I said, if anybody wants to lose 5 pounds, it's a good way to do it right now. Just get outside and do a little yard work.
Oh, yeah, and then deal with the red wasp and yellow jackets.
That's right.
Got nests about the size of a pie plate up there.
Out there making hay or bush hogging or whatever. Next thing you know, you see the swarm come up around you. Boy, you're just hauling it with that tractor to the nearest creek you can and diving under that water. End up with about 13 stings no matter what. You get through it.
Heat for me is garbage on the streets of New York smelling so good. Oh, yeah. and smelly manholes blowing off. There it is. So we kind of got the exact same upbringing, Kenny.
Yeah.
It's
real close to me. Sounds real close to me.
I mean, we're right on it.
Well, you were a child prodigy. You were a platinum seller by the time you were 20 years old, weren't you, Charlie?
I was, which is pretty crazy.
#1 song.
Yeah,
pretty nutty.
Yeah.
And made my way to Nashville
to you.
and met the Big and Rich Boys, and it's been crazy ever since.
And now you're in artist management. Which do you prefer, artist or artist management?
You know what? I like the management side. I won't lie.
Kind
of like, I don't know how I got thrown in the front of the camera, but this just worked out. This show has been incredible for us, and just how the idea came about. And me and Kenny said, you know what? We do this. We just go out and do it. Let's just go do it.
Yeah.
Even if it was just.
What could we do? I mean, what kind of idea could we come up with that we could just go out and really have some fun?
So where were you when the idea came to you? What precipitated this Crank It Up Garage thing?
We were in my shop. We were standing right beside the welding table or leaning on it, sitting on it, whatever, and talking about an old Kawasaki bike that a buddy had brought over. Thought it'd be fun for me and my kids to tear it apart, maybe do something with it, and got to talking about that. Evan had come by from Circle. We just shot another piece for another episode.
And he and Charlie talk alike because he's from Brooklyn.
Yeah. So we're just standing there talking. We get to talking about that bike and how if it's some idea, maybe we'll pull it apart and maybe take and and take it from this motor to another motor, and you know, it'd just be cool, man. You know, I just love people who take whatever and put it together and turn it into something that's really neat. There are all these builders out there that are making all these crazy machines. You know, Charlie, it would really be cool to do a show on them, man, to shine a light on these folks. You know, these folks that take it and make these incredible rides. You know, and next thing you know, one thing led into another, and if it rides, glides, floats, or flies, it sounds like it's something we want to see. And now we're on season 2 of going out there and seeing them, and boy, did we get to experience some amazing rides this season.
And I want to talk more about those. Thursday night, by the way, this Thursday, the 16th, 9:30 Eastern, that's 8:30 Central Time, Crank It Up Garage, Season 2.
Season 2, yeah. Woo.
So what is some of the stuff that we're going to see in Season 2 here, as people see it on TV, but they're listening on radio, so you'll have to describe it.
Well, we started out this year getting really sandy. I mean, sandy down there in the glamorous dunes of California. And, you know, I had experienced a dune buggy. You know, my uncle had one when I was a kid, and it was pretty cool and everything. But it didn't have an over 1,500 horsepower motor on it, and it didn't just stand up on its back wheels while going
110
insanely fast across these dunes that go high and low really quick, and you aren't just flying through the air with the greatest of ease. It was just insane. I mean, it started out just nutty out there. I mean, I had no idea that anybody was out there building something like these rides.
So do they contact you? Is that how you're finding out more and more about these unique vehicles?
Both. Some contact us, and then some are things that we run across. You know, and that's kind of one of the things that Charlie and I are always running across these vehicles online or something. We'd see one, we'd send it to each other and say, "Man, you ever seen something like this? Wow, isn't this one cool?" And so some of them will reach out to them and say, "Hey, man, we'd really like to come see what you got." And next thing you know, we're out there riding on them. I mean, there was another one, the Typhoon. This one was totally nuts. I mean, this guy had taken 2 wave runners and then mounted like an all-terrain vehicle, a Polaris-type body on top of them. And man, this thing would go out, you know, you ride like you're riding across a lake, like a steering wheel. So you're riding up on top of the water. When you first get on, you think, man, this is going to flip over. And I mean, just roll. But no, I mean, the harder we could ride it, you could just push it into anything, man. And the engineering on it was just so fantastic, so fabulous. It would do anything but just hold right into the curves just as hard as you want it to push it. It would go 100 miles an hour over 6-foot waves. I mean, just nutty, the engineering that gone into that. And some of the craftsmanship that we saw was just, I mean, unbelievable from Ernie, who was making his own tools to craft his own little miniature dwarf cars. I mean, this old man, he's been at his craft for decades, but you know, the type of dude that would saw a refrigerator panel, an old refrigerator sitting on the side of the road, and that was his inspiration to turn it into like a 34 Ford model, beautiful, perfect,
replica,
and
have to make the tools.
Scale car that you got to kind of curl up and crawl up.
So not only a mechanic, but a machinist.
A machinist.
I mean,
a total machinist.
Making his own English wheels. If anybody knows anything, bending metal, made all those machines to do all this stuff
to make the trims, to go down the side of the vehicle, and then it just
insane
absolutely
stuff.
matches up. You know, to the Excalibur, which, you know, here's this dude makes this car. It's no paint job on it. I mean, it's completely just the finished metal from beginning to end, and it looks like a completely polished, you know, perfectly made, you know, sword. It's shining so bright, but of course, you know, it's all the mechanics of this a truck that he made. But just the metal work on it is just spectacular. It's
and
just
now he has the name Sir Biggs-a-Lot because of Excalibur.
Yeah, Sir Biggs-a-Lot. But then you can hardly have any more fun than we had, you know, being on them airboats and going through the Everglades, and then, you know, ended up out there, you know, because of a friend, and then this friend has a little, like his own little private island out in the middle of the Everglades, in the middle of nowhere, and then we get there, and the next thing you know, they're feeding us stone crab. I mean,
it's something else. It really is. As you can see how excited he is.
Oh, I know.
Everywhere we go, these folks are, number one, are incredible people, and they all have the same thread in every episode because everybody cares so much about what they're doing, and we're happy that we get to film that and let folks see it.
Charlie, what was your first car?
Oh, I built a car with my dad. It was a V8 Vega with a 350 in it, and
a Vega with a 350.
Yeah, and I got it taken away because I got caught drag racing. And I'm sitting on a milk crate, by the way. We didn't even have a seat in it yet.
I have. The other night, we did an exclusive Opry show for Chevrolet and their elite leaders. And Trace Adkins was on the show. And he was talking about how he'd always been a Chevy guy, a GM guy. And he said, my first vehicle was a 55 Chevrolet pickup truck.
Nice.
He said, until I totaled it. And that was the end of the story. That was the end of the story. So as he's coming off stage, I said, come here. So how did we total the pickup truck? That's the story that needs to be told. And he says, I ran it up underneath a school bus one morning.
Yikes.
And the kids weren't hurt, but they got the rest of the day off. Oh, my goodness. And yours, Kenny, what was your first ride?
Man, it was a Ford Falcon. Yeah, we called it the Gray Ghost. Gray Ghost. And I learned how to drive that bad boy out across them hayfields. It was
3-speed in the column?
Yep. That's it.
I had the Mercury version of that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That was a great car.
The Comet, I believe it was the Mercury version.
Yep, Mercury Comet.
Where we going, Charlie?
We're going to bumper into the break here.
Okay, going to bumper into the break and come back. More conversation, music on the other side. And we'll go to California before this whole thing is in a different model vehicle coming up here.
I don't think the Altima will be featured in season 2, but I never know. You never know.
But it's gassed up.
I don't want to break
Might
any.
be a donor car. Might be a donor car.
$5 a gallon, but it's gassed up.
That's right.
We're getting jacked up, we're back and double up, stand up and make some noise. There ain't no beaches on these back roads, no sunset on the boulevard. She's in love with California, breaking my heart. Well, she's in love with California, breaking my heart. Oh, she's breaking my heart.
Over here, we got the two cars.
Whoa! So watching these sand cars on video and seeing pictures of them does not compare until you actually get here and get to see them. First of all, they're way bigger.
When you stand beside it, you can immediately tell there's something super special about this. This is not like any sort of a side-by-side, a dune buggy, anything like that I'd ever been in. That's me, smiling, gonna be riding soon. Yeah! Crank it up! Ugh.
That is not a gassed-up Nissan Altima that was referenced in California, your hit record. How many horsepower in that baby?
Like one of them was like 1,500 horsepower, and the other one was like 1,800 horsepower.
Yeah.
There's so much horsepower. You just like I'd never heard of any sort of a street vehicle you could have that kind of horsepower on it, and since.
So these are street legal?
No, since they're
sand.
in sand, I guess you can have that sort of extra horsepower because it's just going to throw a lot of that into that sand. And you notice it's got those paddle wheels on it, so it's really
needs a lot of
digging
torque.
into that sand when it takes off. I mean, and you covered with sand from head to toe off.
I saw your goggles.
Ears. I mean,
We go there and we're like, me and Kenny always look, we're kind of like, whoa, holy moly. But like a couple weeks after we got done filming, one of the guys, that's Andrew Buck from Buckshot Racing in that episode, they posted a picture of the dune buggy, the sand rail, basically rolling down the dune, crashing. Weeks after we went, and he's like, "Did you see that picture?" I'm like, "Yeah, that could have been us." I'm like, "Yeah, I guess it could have been us."
Right before we're getting in it, like, so you ever really had any problems with these? He says, well, a little bit about my history. I was running a rail one time, and I was doing this big jump, and things didn't turn out exactly like I was hoping they would. I landed a little wrong. Yeah, I broke my back.
Oh.
I went, okie dokie. But it looks like you've healed up fine, so we're going to have a great day today.
So about the trust me and Kenny have with these folks.
This is why we have titanium rods at people's backs.
That's right.
So is it kind of like getting on like a big scary roller coaster? There's the thrill, but there's a little trepidation as well.
Kind of like bull riding,
What am I
maybe?
getting in?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess a mechanical version, right? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, yes, they all have a different little bit of a thrill to them like that. You never know what to expect. That one was totally different. Once I got behind the wheel of it, then a totally different action too, because it shifts differently. It's a ratchet shifter. It it definitely reacts really quickly. I mean, that thing will just stand right up. It just kind of nutty like that. But I wouldn't say it wasn't as scary as getting on that Amish buggy with that jet engine behind it last year.
I got to know
that just felt like you just had this concept that this thing's going to blow up. So, and if I turn this too hard, it is going to roll into them
that's
turns.
The part I couldn't
and then
figure.
all that jet fuel just going to go explosive. It's going to get just
And 2 guys built it. One of the guys has never driven it. And we get in it and drive away. So that should have been the first clue.
Think of the ratings, though.
You guys were the prototype pilots,
That's
right?
right. That's
Prototypes.
right. Prototype pilots.
Crank It Up Garage, Season 2 with Big Kenny and Charlie. They're in studio this morning. Big Kenny of Big and Rich fame, you heard a little bit earlier, and Charlie Pennachio's here. New episode starting this Thursday for Season 2, and they're describing some of those this morning, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central Time, and that's this Thursday. The 16th. Yeah. Interestingly enough, I was thinking about going fast and up in Cross Plains where people know how to act, mostly. Where I live. I take I-65 as my corridor to work. On the 16th, rolling roadblocks on I-65. And I thought, well, it's both ends of the spectrum. Yeah. Rolling roadblocks on I-65 and going fast with you two on the Crank It Up Garage.
There you go.
Not a bad mix.
There you go.
So what else have you not talked about that's going to be in Season 2? I know you've talked about water. We've talked about sand. What else is going to be seen?
Rides, glides, floats, or flies. I think, one of the biggest deals is probably that, we both got to drive a monster truck.
The largest, longest monster truck, Guinness World Book of Records, longest monster truck, and we got to drive it.
Wow. Yeah. And I actually, from that episode, I do have some ownership in a monster truck, whether it's going to actually, come to fruition and be admitted or not, or whether my wife would admit the monster truck into our driveway. But, before we left there, we're out there with Brad, just kind of talking about this big truck, and just, out of the blue, he goes, you know what, if you can guess how much that tire weighs, I'll give you this truck.
True story. It's on film.
Has it got chloride in it or not? And then all of a sudden he started to turn red. He's like, this guy knows a little bit something about tires. So, I'm thinking about my experience with them farm tractor tires, back in the day. And he goes, no chloride. I said, okay. That rim's about 200 pounds in that tire. 800 pounds. He turns another full shade red.
I just lost my truck.
Yeah. I wonder what that feeling is, man, that comes over you when you realize you just lost your monster truck to a bet over the weight of a tractor tire. Or a truck tire.
Wasn't even a self-respecting poker game.
That's great.
Yeah. I mean, this season is just amazing rides, beginning to end. We took last year and we got to continue it, man. And what a beautiful experience. Awesome working with all the folks at Circle. We're so excited to have it come out, man. So excited to be on the same night with Kyle's show. And, it's just good fun and entertaining, man. And heck, we were just running into people out here in the hallway that have been watching the show.
Yeah.
And that's just so, it makes you feel so good to know that people are seeing something that you got to, work on and put together, and they're being entertained by it, and they're learning stuff from it. They're intrigued by it. And that's just beautiful, man. So we're just super happy to be here. Just super happy to be here talking to you, Bill. I get to do this once a year, and that's so fun. We've been laughing ourselves,
during the breaks.
During the breaks. I mean, it's just good as it gets.
Well, you mentioned Kyle Petty's, whom he's referencing, and Dinner Drives is his show, which is in its second season. He stopped by to see us on Friday of CMA Music Festival.
Yeah, he eats more than you guys do on his show.
Gotta
work dinner into the deal.
But he sits down and has dinner with his guests every night.
Aren't we foodies a little bit?
Yeah.
Just a little.
We're foodies. Charlie and I, we love to eat.
Crank It Up Garage. Big Kenny and Charlie Pennachio here. Thank you so much. Big Kenny, I would be remiss if I didn't point out the Country Radio Seminar. Broadcasters all across this great land in 2013 made you the artist humanitarian. So you have given back in a great, great way and been recognized for it. And I wanted to mention that this morning.
Thank you so much. Plan to keep on doing it.
All right, buddy.
Amen.
Thank you both.
Thanks.
Be well.
Charlie.
Out west they say, old cowboys, they say, go easy. But that's not in the two of you, is it, to go easy? Go fast. That's what they do. This is 650 AM WSM and Circle Television.
Dum da dum da dum da dum da da da. Dum da dum da dum da dum da 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 da.
Thanks for listening to our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Our program director at WSM Radio is J. Patrick Tittle. Our digital producer is Haley Hall. Marketing and promotions director is Amanda Cannon. And I'm Charlie Matos. If you like what you've heard, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And leave us a review on iTunes. It really does help new people find the show.